She's thinking about you right now. Her eyes might be on a screen, her fingers idle, but her mind is on you. The man she stopped talking to, the one she left on read, the one she didn't reply to. She checks her phone more than she admits. She replays your conversations in her head. She stalks your stories. She watches your life unfold in silence. She misses you, but she will not say it. And it has nothing to do with you being undeserving. It has everything to do with what society has conditioned her to believe, because her pride is her shield and your silence is her test. This video will break that wall wide open. If you're a man who's tired of chasing women who only respond when you're gone, if you're done being confused by mixed signals, cold shoulders, and the emotional roller coaster, this is for you. Stay until the end, and you'll never look at her silence the same again. You've been lied to about love, about women, about what strength in a man looks like. Most men are taught to be emotionally available, expressive, vulnerable, until they become disposable. You were told to pursue her. That effort proves love. But effort without respect is weakness, and chasing a woman who's pulling away is not love, it's insecurity. You are not here to become more palatable to her emotions. You're here to reclaim your position as a man with composure, with purpose, with self-respect so deep that no silent treatment can break you. I'm going to walk you through exactly why she acts cold, distant, and indifferent. And more importantly, what you as a masculine, grounded man must do. Every insight I share in this video is a weapon for your mind. If you apply it, you will never be emotionally manipulated again. That is my promise. Why she pulls away. When a woman starts to pull away, when her messages slow down, her tone goes colder, or she suddenly becomes emotionally unavailable, your instinct might be to think she's lost interest, that she's talking to someone else, that you messed up somehow. But the truth, one that most men never learn, is far more complicated and far more powerful. It's not always that she doesn't care. Often, it's the opposite. She cares more than she can handle. And that scares her. Because to care is to risk. And to risk as a woman means giving emotional power to a man. Something society tells her to never do. This fear turns into silence. And this silence turns into confusion for you. She goes quiet not because you're not on her mind, but because you're constantly on her mind. She replays your last conversation, studies your last reply, overanalyzes the tone, wonders if she said too much or not enough. But she won't reach out, not because she's moved on, but because her pride, the one thing she believes protects her heart, is louder than her longing. She thinks, if he cared, he would text. But at the same time, she's dying to hear from you. That's the battlefield. That's the tug of war in her soul. Emotion on one side, ego on the other. Both pulling, neither surrendering. You need to see through the mask. Women are emotional, yes. But they are also brilliantly tactical with those emotions. She might be sitting alone in bed at night, holding her phone, your name lit up in her chat list. Her thumb might hover over your name. Open the conversation. Start typing. Hey. Then pause. Backspace. I miss you. Pause. Delete. Nothing gets sent. She throws the phone to the side, frustrated, not at you, but at herself. At the fact that she wants to be the one to break first. That she wants to reach out but feels like if she does, she'll lose. That she'll hand over power. And in her mind, no matter how much she likes you, that would be a fatal move. You think she's ignoring you, but the truth is she's testing herself. She's trying to see if she can win the game she never admitted she was playing. So what does she do instead? She posts that selfie. She shares a quote about independence. She goes out with friends and makes sure it's visible. Everything she posts, she hopes you see. She wants to look like she's fine, like she's glowing without you, like she's not affected. But behind that mask of indifference is a woman hoping you're affected, hoping you're watching, hoping you feel her absence the way she feels yours. And here's what you must understand as a man. This isn't weakness, it's wiring. It's programming. It's centuries of conditioning passed down to her that says, a woman who chases a man will be abandoned. A woman who shows too much will be taken for granted. So even when her heart tells her to reach out, her fear of appearing desperate will silence her. Not because she doesn't value you, but because she doesn't want to lose the image of strength she's built. So she will do everything to appear unbothered. But the more effort she puts into appearing unbothered, the more bothered she actually is. And that's the part that most men miss. You try to decode her actions. Was that post about you? Is she angry? Has she moved on? But what you should really be doing is nothing. Not reacting. Not chasing. Not decoding. Just observing. Because your stillness does more to shift the power dynamic than any paragraph you could send. The more you resist the urge to fix, the more your presence amplifies in her mind. She doesn't miss you when you chase. She misses you when you vanish. She doesn't think about you when you try to get her attention. She thinks about you when you go silent and still look like you're thriving. Understand this. She might lie to herself before she ever tells you the truth. She might tell her friends she doesn't care. She might convince herself she's moved on. But every scroll through your profile, every look at your name in her inbox, every silent moment when she picks up her phone and puts it down again without messaging you. That's the truth. And the deeper your impact, the more she pulls away. Not because you mean less, but because you mean more. You've become someone whose presence affects her ego, someone whose silence makes her question herself. So when she pulls away, don't chase. Don't panic. Don't try to interpret every little thing. Stand firm. Because often, the coldest woman is the one who's fighting the hardest not to care. And every man who understands this knows one thing. The more you respect yourself in those silent moments, the more respect you earn from her in the long run. Because while her emotions speak in silence, your masculinity speaks in self-control. The battle between ego and emotion. What's really happening inside her? There's a war being fought inside her, not one of logic and reason, but of emotion and pride. And as a man, you're not invited to this battlefield. You're simply the catalyst for it. You see her silence, her distance, her cold texts, and you feel like she's moving on. You feel unwanted. You feel discarded. But inside her, there's chaos. There's a power struggle between her emotional truth and her social conditioning. Her emotion, raw, honest, aching, wants to reach out, to message you, to reconnect, to say, I miss you. I hate this silence. I wish we could talk. But her ego, calculated, defensive, stubborn, shuts it all down. Ego becomes the gatekeeper of her behavior. Her ego doesn't just speak, it commands. It tells her that if she texts you first, she's lost. That if she admits she misses you, she's weak. That if she shows vulnerability, you'll take her for granted. She's not thinking about how much you mean to her. She's thinking about how much control she'll lose if she shows it. Her ego convinces her that whoever breaks silence first is the one who's emotionally weaker. And in her mind, weakness equals risk. So she locks her feelings away, even when they're screaming to be let out. And the tragedy is, the more she cares, the stronger her ego resists. Because to her, showing care is dangerous. Dangerous because it gives you the power. This is why she tests your silence with her own. Every day you don't reach out, she's watching. Every moment you don't fold, she's calculating. And the longer it goes, the more she questions herself. But she won't show it. She won't post about missing you. She won't confess her internal panic. Instead, she'll double down on pride. She'll project confidence, detachment, even flirtation with others, just to provoke your chase. Not because she's over you, but because she's terrified that you might actually have the power now. That your silence isn't a bluff. That you've stopped waiting. That you've started moving on. And here's the most critical thing every man must understand. When you chase her during this battle, you don't win her heart. You fuel her ego. You confirm her strategy. You validate her control. And the more you chase, the more she withdraws. Not because she's heartless, but because your pursuit makes her feel emotionally superior. She wins the game. But if you don't chase, if you remain still, grounded and composed, her emotional wall begins to crack. Not because you manipulated her, but because you didn't let her manipulate you. Your emotional discipline becomes a mirror that reflects her confusion. She begins to question herself. Why isn't he chasing? Did he move on? Did I miscalculate? And that uncertainty becomes your greatest advantage. When her ego no longer receives the fuel it needs, your attention, your desperation, your pursuit, it begins to starve. And that's when her emotion starts gaining strength. It whispers louder. It says, what if I made a mistake? What if he's the one slipping away? What if I pushed too hard? And now she's fighting a different war. One where you are no longer the one needing answers. One where she starts needing closure. She needs to know if you still care. She needs to feel that she didn't ruin everything. And that's when you receive that out-of-nowhere message. Hey, how have you been? Did you see that thing I posted? These aren't random. These are white flags from a war her ego is no longer strong enough to fight. But this doesn't happen if you react emotionally, if you lash out, if you send her long paragraphs asking why she's acting differently. You must let her lose the battle inside on her own. You must not become a casualty of her internal chaos. You must become the observer, not passive, but unshaken. Not indifferent, but unfazed. That's what true Stoicism looks like in relationships. It's not pretending not to care. It's caring so deeply about your own self-worth that you never let someone else's emotional instability dictate your behavior. And you need to know this. Women deeply respect men they cannot control emotionally. You might think your silence will make her forget you, but in truth, your silence makes her feel you, because silence echoes louder than words. When she's used to attention, when she's used to being chased, when she's used to men breaking before she does, you staying calm and focused disrupts everything she thought would happen. It makes her sit with the consequences of her silence. And for once, she becomes the one who needs to act. Not because you manipulated her, but because you respected yourself more than you desired her attention. The battlefield is real, and most men never see it. They fall into the trap. They become emotional pawns in a game they never knew existed. But not you. Not anymore. Because now you know. Behind every "I don't care" is a woman who desperately does. Society conditions her to wait while you're trained to chase and lose. The lie was planted early. Long before she ever caught feelings. Long before you ever sent your first "good morning" text. She was taught that if a man wants her, he will chase. And if he stops chasing, it means he never cared. This script was handed to her by movies, TV shows, pop songs, her friends, her aunties, and every girl power meme that got applause for being cold, but never for being honest. So now she's living with a belief system that tells her, the more silent she is, the more power she has, that if she waits long enough, the right man will prove himself through pursuit, even if she gives him nothing but distance in return. But here's what she was never taught. That when a man chases a woman who constantly withdraws, he stops being respected. That his constant effort, when not met with appreciation or effort in return, begins to look like desperation. And desperation in the eyes of a woman is unattractive. Not because she's heartless, not because she doesn't want love, but because something deep in her psychology equates effort without boundaries to weakness. And weakness in a man triggers something she can't even explain: disgust. Not because she's cruel, but because she senses instability. She senses that you need her more than you need your own dignity. You were trained to prove yourself, to make her feel special, to do everything right, to buy flowers when she's distant, to text more when she texts less, to explain yourself, to win her back. You thought that made you romantic. In her eyes, it made you replaceable. And I know that hurts, but you need to hear it. Because the world gave you a blueprint for love that only works when both sides are mature. But in this modern battlefield of dating, where attention is currency and validation is traded like poker chips, your old-school effort is a losing hand. She doesn't want more effort. She wants your absence to matter. She wants to feel what it's like to be without you, to doubt her position, to question her silence. She wants to experience your value not through your presence, but through your discipline to withhold it when it's not earned. When you chase a woman who is intentionally being distant, you send a message, one that says, "My self-worth is negotiable." And once that idea enters her mind, it's nearly impossible to unwrite it. She will always know that if she pulls away, you will come closer. That if she withholds affection, you will try harder. That if she ignores you, you'll bend over backwards to fix it. And this creates a dynamic that robs you of all your power, not just in the relationship, but in your identity as a man. You are not here to audition for love. You are not here to convince someone of your worth through repetition. A man who understands his value will never chase validation. Because real men don't run after what disrespects them. They walk away calmly, and they don't look back. And the deeper truth is this: the woman who is worth your love will never make you chase her through indifference. She will show effort. She will reach out. She will respond to your energy with matching energy. And if she doesn't, then every message you send after her silence is not an expression of love. It's a surrender of self. So when she goes quiet and you feel the urge to just check in, to say, "Hey, how are you?" to keep yourself on her radar, understand what's happening. You are being tested. She wants to see how deep your self-respect goes. And the moment you break silence just to get a reaction, you fail. Not because she hates you, but because she now sees you as someone she can emotionally control. And women never fall in love with men they can control. But if you hold your frame, if you stay composed while she waits for your reaction, you turn the entire game upside down. You break the cycle. You introduce a rare breed of man, the kind who doesn't dance for attention, the kind who doesn't react to every emotional withdrawal, the kind who values peace over chaos. And when she realizes you're not playing the role she expected you to play, that's when she starts thinking differently. That's when curiosity turns into intrigue. That's when silence turns into guilt. And often, that's when she comes back. If this video woke you up even for one moment, support this channel. Not just for me. For every man who needs to hear this. For your brother. For your younger self. For the next man on the verge of breaking himself just to be seen by someone who stops seeing him. Share this. Comment Stoic below. Join the brotherhood of men who don't chase. They lead, they grow, they rise. This is how we make sure the truth reaches the ones who need it most. Subscribe, because every week I drop tools, strategies, and wisdom to help you become untouchable in love, in life, in mind. You want clarity? Start here and never look back.